Well, after a 7-week congressional recess, lawmakers do return to Washington tomorrow to tackle stalemates and partisan fights that were put on hold, if only for the summer. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, good enough to join us here in Studio 57. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Congressman, let's start with, well, that simple letter, that's C. Secretary Clinton told the FBI she didn't know it stood for confidential. How concerned, then, should voters be that a former senator, a former Secretary of State, didn't know what that C stood for?
Well, I think they shouldn't be that concerned. I think the Secretary of State deals with a large number of issues, 30,000 emails. We're talking about a few that may have been marked confidential. Classified is really, and secret and highly sensitive is where it becomes more problematic. But the fact is that whatever it was that Hillary Clinton dealt with in that manner had no threat to our security. And I think that too much is being made of this. Hillary Clinton is as talented and as informed and as knowledgeable a leader as we have seen in our country. I think much too much is being made of this. And I say that as the top Democrat on the Intelligence Committee for years. This is really much ado about something. But too much ado.
But she is nevertheless somebody that a majority of the electorate simply has said they do not trust. When she says on 39 separate occasions to the FBI that she cannot recall receiving any training with regard to monitoring and using her email for confidential information, how believable is that?
We're talking about at least 30,000 emails. You're talking about 1,000th of that. But you know what? This is a distraction from what we really should be talking about. Congress is going into session tomorrow. We have so much unfinished business. In February, the president asked Congress for resources to fight a national public health emergency, Zika. Not 1 cent has been appropriated by Congress. Hopefully, in this session of Congress, in this February, Congress will honor its responsibilities to the American people. Opioids, an issue that affects communities all over the country. We pass bills about it, but we don't allocate any resources to it. Flint, Michigan, for a very long time, the children there have been suffering. We have not met the challenge to our conscience on that. And the issue of gun safety, something we would have the votes if they would give us a vote. There's so much unfinished business that directly affects the lives of the American people. That's what we have to get on with.
You mentioned Zika and yes, the funding in that. The last time it was the Senate Democrats that actually blocked it. What needs to happen to have a bipartisan agreement on Zika funding?
It wasn't the Senate Democrats that blocked it. It was the insistence on the part of the Republicans that on a Zika, which is a sexually transmitted infection, whatever you want to call it, can be, yes, is, and that they're saying, well, whatever we do, we can't have any resources that go for contraception. It's ridiculous, first of all. Second of all, the Republicans were putting forth much less than the president asked for. So the fact is that for ideological reasons, whether it's anti-birth control, anti-contraception, anti-fetal tissue research, anything that has to do with reproduction, they have decided you cannot use any resources for family planning or contraception.
But it feels like this is where people get frustrated with government, that we need funding to go towards Zika. How do you get a compromise then between the two parties?
Well, we've offered them a compromise any number of times, and what they have said is, and so we're saying, come up with what you have, whatever it is, come up with something, but don't say, go use Ebola funds. No, we need the Ebola funds for Ebola. We've taken the Ebola funds. That's the only way we've been able to do any research and vector all the prevention and the rest is taking money from something else. But you have a situation, it just takes you to the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. The Republicans are there for the wealthiest people, trickle-down economics, tax breaks for the wealthy, and now you're going to balance the budget by not allocating resources to what we need. That's what the election is about how we invest in the American people. I always say to them, show me your values, show me your budget. If your budget is one that says tax cuts for the wealthiest, it will trickle down, versus investment in the future, in our education, in our infrastructure, in our good health of the American people, that's a debate that we have to have with the American people. And we should be focusing on these campaigns on issues that affect people in their lives.
Well, Leader
Whoever wins.
Leader Pelosi, let me ask you, let's go back to Hillary Clinton and her emails, because that is something that a lot of people are talking about right now. The FBI report says a specialist used a program called BleachBit to delete an unknown number of emails after the House committee investigating the Benghazi attack asked her to produce those relevant emails. So a lot of people are saying that this is going to the perception that in some cases Hillary Clinton plays by her own rules, and she is above the law in her mind.
Well, I don't subscribe to that, but I do agree with you that some people have that perception. But what we have to do as we leave the summer, Labor Day is here, it's time for the campaign to begin. What does this mean for the future of our country? We have a choice between two candidates. There's nothing that Donald Trump has said, whether it's about immigrants or migrants, Muslims or Mexicans, to use his words, that Republicans in Congress don't say all the time. So we have to simplify. What is the choice that the American people will have? Not to get bogged down in some technicalities about emails that have not had an impact on our national security. We're big on security. Security for our country that is smart and strong and tough. Security for our economy that's about the middle class and not the wealthy.
And
security about our democracy. Stop big money in
thank
politics.
you. I don't mean to interrupt you. We're just out of time, but that people will be weighing in 63 days until that general election. Thank you for your time.
It's going to be a great campaign, and the American people have to be the winners.
Thank you.